Hello, beautiful people of the world. This is Sasha Marie, and you are listening to Ambiance podcast.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Ambiance podcast. Today's guest is one of my personal favorite music curators coming out of San Diego, right? We got Sasha Marie. How you feeling today?
What's up? I'm good. I'm happy to finally make it out here to be on this podcast. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I remember I think I initially reached out to you like right before COVID happened. It's just been like back and forth here and then here we are like 2 years later. I'm honestly a fan, so like I'm really happy that we made this happen. I really wanted to. So the mixes that you produce, how did that whole journey start? What made you think to do that?
I've always made mixes. Like, I feel like even prior to me learning how to record, I'd always just like have my songs loaded up from like Napster and stuff like that and LimeWire, and I'd have these playlists and I'd burn these CDs to just finally like saving up enough money to get a laptop, and then I would just start making stuff on GarageBand.
Wow.
And it just kind of took off from there.
So it was just like a natural progression. Like you were basically making mixes to start with and you didn't even know you were doing it. Like subliminally, right?
Yeah, I feel like when I was younger and maybe even now, I've had better luck expressing myself through music than I have had, with words.
Really?
Yeah.
I saw too on your website that you said your dad had a big influence, right, on just your musical upbringing, right? So talk about that.
Yeah. My father influenced me the most in my life. He was a big oldies fan, like oldies but goodies. And he had a really big record collection, which I have to this day. And I just remember being in his garage and he would put on different records and I would go through them and pick different ones out, like based on the cover, because I just love like the artwork.
The album art?
Yeah. And I just became enamored.
Did he have a really diverse set of records too? Was it a lot of different genres?
For the most part, I really feel though he had a lot of like soul records. Soul records,
okay.
Yeah. But he'd have like random things in there, like David Bowie.
Oh, really?
He also had, I still have it. It's one of my favorite ones. It's Jimi Hendrix, and it's just like a super
fire
beat up album. You know, a lot of his records have scratches on them, which sucks, but they're old.
Is that why? Because I love the cover art on your episodes or your chapters, excuse me. So is that like why you put a lot of effort into getting them done like that? Because they always look fire. It's like, I feel like you take pride in doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, being able to pair like amazing visuals with music is something that I'm all about. Like, I like to tell a story, at every angle, from the artwork to the emotion put into the music, And I feel like my designer, Tin Hai, who I work with now, he's really helped me a lot be able to express myself visually with the artwork. That's all him.
Really?
Yeah. So I'll have an idea and a general direction, and then he makes something magical out of that.
Yeah, it's like basically curating a mood, because those covers look like the music sounds, if that makes sense,
Thank you. That's exactly what I'm going for.
Yeah, you do a great job at it, and he does a great job at it. I had a creative come on like a couple months ago. He's a graphic designer named Dewey Saunders.
He's super dope.
Yeah, and he does dope album cover art, and that's something that he said on the podcast too. He's just like the goal of making a dope like album cover is like trying to make it look how the music sounds.
Exactly.
So that's like perfect with your chapters. Why do you call them chapters instead of like episodes, or people just call them different things? Why do you call them chapters?
I feel like my mixes, or with Sasha Marie Radio, it's like every time I create one, it's like a journal entry for me, or like a chapter in my personal book of Sasha Marie's life, So it's like, obviously we go through so many different things and emotions week to week. So many experiences happen, and I kind of just channel all of that into my mixes, and I call them chapters because, you know, it's like a piece of my life right there.
Yeah, I've been listening since the first one, and they've
Thank
always
you.
been fire. And one of the things that I love that you do is how vulnerable that you are with like the audience. So you're like telling things about your life, your personal life, and then also how it ties in the music and how your mood is and shit. That's really like one of my favorite things. I feel like it makes me like feel like it makes me feel like I already know you. Like I just met you today, but I feel like I know you because of those like tidbits that you do.
I feel that way with you too. You're easy
Thank
to
you.
talk to.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think I feel like I'm like hyper aware of myself and how I come off. And the radio show is where I can just be completely me for the most part, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still like figuring out a rhythm with it. Like, I'd be so afraid to talk, you know, during the first couple of chapters because I didn't know what to say. I didn't know how long to talk. I didn't know what people wanted to hear. And then I just gradually became more comfortable, you know, I just try to speak from the heart. And sometimes I don't feel like talking, you know, I just like the music to talk for me. And sometimes I have something to say in hopes that someone out there will relate to me.
Yeah, so it's really literally like how you're feeling at the time of recording that. Like not much else planning goes into it.
It's not scripted at all.
I
mean, I'll practice a couple of times because I'll be like, hello, beautiful people of the world, and I'll just like start mumbling something, or my dog will start playing with his toys and you'll hear it in the background, so then I have to start over again.
But sometimes I love that because it adds like a form of like genuinity to it. Like all the time, which will probably happen over and over again in this podcast episode, is like sirens going off, like downtown LA street light, like noises and stuff like that. And I used to hate it at first. I was like, oh, it's so annoying. But now I'm like, no, I kind of like it. It adds some like character.
Yeah, it's real life,
audio.
right?
Yeah. I feel like there's some of that lacking at times. So I love anybody who's bringing that to life. And your show is like insanely amazing to me. And
Thank you.
I think that a lot of people have like caught on to it, right? Since you first started.
Yeah, I feel like I've been growing a pretty steady base of listeners.
Yeah, and you also put out some merch and those like incense holders. Those were fire. I was like, oh my God, those are amazing.
Thank you. No, during quarantine, I really had to dig into other aspects of my creativity, and I started working more with like physical material, you know, everything from cement to acrylic, and fragrances for the incense. It was fun. Like I got crafty, you know? And then I was like, I should just share this with people.
Yeah, and I feel like the fact that you were doing it so freely and organically like says a lot about it. And that sounds like that's like a reoccurring theme with like everything that you do in your life.
Thank you.
Pretty much.
I feel like I had to find myself again during quarantine, which I'm sure a lot of people went through, because I feel that I was stripped of certain things, and then I was just like, well, who am I without these things?
Yeah, like you had an identity, like crisis. I don't want to say crisis, but like revelation
felt like
or whatever.
Crisis. I was just like, you know, okay.
I feel like a lot of people felt that way too.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was like realigning with what their priorities were. Like, wow, like a lot of these things like really didn't matter at the end of the day.
No, I agree, and I feel like it changed everyone, and I'm trying to keep that feeling alive in a sense, even when I'm traveling now and things are going back to whatever you would call this
normal.
I'm trying to like still have that sense of just gratitude, and I don't know, like prioritize what it is that really matters to me.
Do you think that you were lacking that before because your life was moving so fast and you had all this stuff going on that you just kind of like didn't get a chance to take a step back?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm falling into that again of what's next and not really celebrating what's in front of me, you know?
Yeah.
And I was just talking to my friend Talia. You've had her on before.
Yeah, Talia. Love her.
And we were just talking about just like, I was telling her, I'm getting all of these opportunities and I love them and I'm doing all of these things and I'm busting my ass. But who am I, like, who am I showing up as, you know, while doing all of these things? You know, am I just like, okay, let's go, let's do this, and what's next? Or am I like actually taking it in and like coming from a really authentic place?
Yeah, and now you're actually like conscious of thinking about those things. Like, so that's like a cool tool that you kind of probably took from the pandemic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you feel like you took away from it?
That's a good question. I think I took away a realigning of my life purposes and realizing like what's important and what isn't important. And at the end of the day, I feel like I just came out of it with a lot more clarity on like what I want. And I think everybody needed it. It wasn't like a great thing that happened, but I feel like everybody needed to take a step back at their own life. I feel like everybody can agree on that, like, or most people can.
Yeah, definitely. It was a step back. Felt like a million steps back.
Facts. You know? Yeah. And one thing I do notice too, like a message that you're pushing is like self-care and self-love. Talk about why that's so important for you to incorporate in just your life and then also in your brand.
I feel like if you're not pouring like the love and the energy that you pour into other things and people on the daily, then you're losing parts of yourself. And I feel like it's important to check in and see how you're feeling and doing. And self-love looks like so many different things. It's not just like going to a yoga class or meditating. It can look like so many different things for people. And I just feel like that's really important, you know?
What's an example of like how you practice like self-love and self-care like in your own life?
Sometimes isolating myself feels like self-love, you
really?
know? Just like I grew up pretty much as like the only child, and I was in my room a lot creating and doing things, and I didn't have to leave that room for hours. And when I do that at home, it feels good most of the time. Yeah,
so just like disconnecting,
yeah. I always say like disconnect to reconnect to
yourself. I love that saying.
And I think that, and I feel like I say this in my shows, like, check in with yourself. How's your heart? How's your soul? How's your mind? How's your energy? And it's like I have to take that advice too.
Yeah, like as you're saying that, you do always start with that. Like it sounds so familiar when you say it, because you start with that saying, and then when you hear it, it just makes you automatically check yourself, you know?
Yeah, do we check in with ourselves enough throughout the day, you know? Like, how am I actually feeling right now? Like, you know what I feel like is the hardest question to answer?
What?
How are you?
Yeah, that's true, huh? Why though?
I just feel like it's a loaded question.
Yeah, the world's most loaded question.
The world's most loaded question.
And like, what comes out of your mouth is just like good, you know?
Yeah, I'm good.
But all these thoughts in your head are like, what's really going on in your head?
Yeah, I'm just like, I can't explain right now, but I'm good.
Yeah. Have you always been this conscious of your like being self-love and self-care, or did you learn through like experience?
I feel like through experience, for sure.
Really?
I mean, I feel like I went through a number of things like we all do in life. We all go through struggles and hardships, and that made me really have to take care of myself in ways that only I could do.
Right.
You know? So it started there. It started with, you know, I have been in therapy for a really long time. I love therapy. I think therapy is great. Everyone should have a therapist. It's just so nice to be able to speak to someone who doesn't judge you and like has like experience and can help you find ways to cope and work through things, because I'm all about like getting to the root of it all, you know, and dissecting it and then healing it and all those different things.
How do you feel when you leave like therapy? Like what's like the feeling like?
It depends. I feel like sometimes I feel good and sometimes I feel heavy. Like honestly, I actually haven't done therapy in a while. I just feel like because I've been busy, and also I think like I was able to take a break, you know. I felt like I was in a really good space. And again, also, I just want to say you don't have to be in a bad space to do therapy. Like when you're in a great space in life, you can do therapy.
That's a really big point to make. Like that's a big misconception that you need to be like fucked up in order to go to therapy.
It's just nice to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Switching gears here, going back to your musical journey. I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but how did you get started DJing? Was it like innocently, or was it like more militant where you had like a plan of attack? Like, no, I want to do this and this and this.
I tried a number of instruments growing up, and I just could never stick to one of them. And then I decided one day that I wanted to try DJing, and I begged my dad to take me to Guitar Center.
How old were you?
I think I was still in high school.
Oh,
But I think I was in my senior year. I'm pretty sure. Feels like so long ago. And he took me and bought me this cheap battle pack, and I had 2 cheap turntables and a mixer, and I would just be in my room and just playing around.
That's fire.
Yeah.
So you just started off as a hobby first.
Yeah, just as something I wanted to try.
Was there a learning curve for you, starting off, or a challenge before you really started to notice a progression?
Yeah, I mean, I sucked at tables. They were fun, but it's really bad. And then I started using controllers after my tables broke. And I don't know, I got really good with the controllers that I would use. And I mean, it was always a different learning experience, switching different equipment, and then leading up to today being on CDJs and really loving them.
Yeah, and back then there wasn't a lot of resources if you wanted to be a DJ other than YouTube, or if you had a friend. But now it's cool to see the beat junkies have an academy, a school that you can go to. Yeah, they have an actual school where you can learn to be a DJ. And that's such a dope idea. They're doing a really cool thing over there. Shout out to them. Your sound is so diverse, and you're mixing in so many different genres, and I just want to know what the idea behind that is for you, to take people literally on a musical journey throughout your set, because that's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I mean, I just love a lot of different genres of music, and I love exploring different sounds, and I feel like every sound makes you feel a certain emotion, and just being able to put it all together and create a story with that is so much fun. I wouldn't say I never get stuck on one genre, but I'm always bouncing around, because I feel like that's kind of how my mind is. I'm just bouncing around in here, And I kind of feel like I do that with my music.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
I could tell, and because I feel like people come, listen to the show for their genre that they like, but they listen to your whole set because you're introducing these new songs. Every time I listen to your show, I'm always on your track list. What the fuck was that? I need that.
Oh, thank you.
So I feel like people come with their own preconceived notion of what you're gonna play for their favorite genre. Then they stay because you're introducing new sounds that they don't really know about.
I love that. It's so much fun, honestly, digging for music. I have so much fun.
What's your digging process for music? What do you...
I search on SoundCloud, even YouTube. I use it all. Spotify, Apple Music. I seriously just go on it all.
Really?
Yeah.
Use them all together.
I really do. There's just so many different ways to find music.
Yeah. It's literally an art of its own, right?
The art of digging, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like you and Joe K are the best at that, and make the best radio shows. They're so fire.
Thank you.
And I feel like people that like either of you guys' shows listen to both of them.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's definitely so good. I feel like he probably has a really tight routine down when it comes to digging, especially because his shows are 2 hour long and they're weekly.
Yeah.
That's a lot of music to have.
And it's a taste maker. You just have good taste. I feel like it's something you can't really teach.
I try.
So what do you got coming up in the near to late future, either for yourself or for your radio show? Do you have plans for it to become something bigger?
I hope so. I would love to get picked up by like a station or something like that. Like I've been trying to get NTS's attention.
Ooh, that'd be
So
dope.
anyone on NTS is listening.
Hit her with the plug.
Honestly, I do it because it's a passion of mine, and I really enjoy sharing music with other people and not really having any limitations on it. You know, I like say like no rules, no boundaries, just feelings. It's pretty much like the tagline for it. So on that end, I'm just gonna keep making these mixes until I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? You're at like what, 40 something now, right?
I'm about to be at 50, 49 this Sunday, and then 50 in 2 weeks.
That's dope. I want to see you at like the thousandths.
Thousand? How
I want
old
to see
will
you
I
be
at
a
the
grandma,
1,000?
like
A grandma?
spinning shit. Like,
Could you imagine?
the cool thing though about creative arts, because I feel like however old you are, if you're like in the 20s to like 30s, your grandparents are probably like in a way different generation. So like there wasn't a lot of creatives back then, but now there's like an abundance of creatives. So it's
Yeah.
like, I wonder if when we're that old, if we're going to be still doing our creative art, because there's no reason why we can't, you know?
Who knows? It's all the unknown.
Like, because there's some like legendary DJs that are old now that are still spinning. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like Carl Cox, he's getting up there. Tiesto, like, and they're not stopping. They're like they're keeping on touring.
Yeah. If there's one thing I definitely don't want to do forever, it's DJ.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't? Do you do other creative arts like outside of just DJing or music?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Totally. So over quarantine, I started picking up design, graphic design with
Oh, really?
with my designer Tin High, and I started working for him. So I've been learning a lot of like art and creative direction, and just like working with, you know, Photoshop and Illustrator and whatnot. So that's been really fun. I don't know where that's gonna take me, but I feel like he's been like such an amazing friend and also mentor, and I've just been like really working on learning as much as I can, you know, with him. And
Just
seeing
absorbing.
where that goes. Yeah, because we make all of the merchandise together. Like everything that I've been doing over the last like year, 2 years, it's been with Tin High.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys seem like you just work good together.
Yeah, we're
like some sense.
literally yin and yang for sure.
Like you know what each other want when you're trying to
Yeah.
bring a project to life.
And yeah, it's just honestly, it's like a meeting him was a blessing, because I was like, I feel like we really started to get close during quarantine, and he's like, I'm gonna like take you under my wing, like I'm gonna show you some things, because I've always been interested in graphic design.
Yeah.
Being able to like take an image or an idea and make it into something like that I can see or hold, like with the merchandise and stuff, it's been so much fun.
Yeah, you're like literally expressing yourself. I feel like you're using that same side of your brain that you use for music and just like applying it to whatever it is that you're doing. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think I'm exploring so many things right now. Yeah.
If you could talk to like a 16-year-old version of you, what would you say to that person?
I'm just like transporting myself back to 16-year-old Sasha right now. I would tell her, don't worry so much. You've got a good head on your shoulders, and you're gonna get through whatever it is that's thrown your way. That's what I would tell her.
Just straight and simple like that.
Yep. Sometimes we just need reassurance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Everybody's different. I feel like what star sign are you?
I'm a Capricorn.
You're a Capricorn?
What
So
about you?
I'm a Pisces.
Cool.
So I don't know what that says in regards to that, but I feel like people do. Like I operate best off of reassurance.
Yeah.
People need like love in different ways, you know?
Different love languages.
Yeah, that's important too. Do you like look into love languages?
I need to read that book, The 5 Love Languages, but I have like read up on some things.
It's so insightful because the languages are what, like,
Touch.
Touch.
Right? Like gifts.
yeah, words of affirmations, gifts, acts of service, and like one other one. But I thought one thing I really took from that book was just that you should love others in their love language, not what you like.
That's hard too.
Yeah, you got to just like realize what that person, like maybe that person doesn't like gifts and they want like acts of service or like words of affirmation or affection. So it's like really important to like talk to your partner about that, you know? Because I talked to mine about that's like one of the first conversations we had was like what are your love languages and like how can I meet those needs?
Oh my God, I love that.
Yeah,
that seems very healthy.
I'm trying to be healthy. I'm telling you,
that.
the Sasha Marie radio show trying to make me like I need to get my it's like healthy shit, you know?
That makes me so happy.
I love it. It's so organic. Sasha, where can people follow you if they want to follow your journey or listen to your music or anything else you want to plug?
Yeah, I mean, everything's just really under Sasha Marie. I tried to get the actual Sasha Marie handle, but someone else has it with like 100 followers.
I hate when that happens.
So the A in Marie is actually a V. That's for Instagram. Same thing for Twitter. SoundCloud is Sasha Marie Radio. If you want to follow my design journey with my bud Skylar, who's 10 High Design, it's 10 High Design on Instagram.
That's a dope name. Is that his real name?
Skylar?
Oh, his name's Skylar.
His name's Skylar, but he goes by 10 High.
That's a dope name. I love that name.
Yeah, dude, he's a dope dude. He's like, he's like wants to take the back seat in things.
Oh, really?
Like, he doesn't care about like notoriety or anything. I've literally never met someone like that before.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's dope. Tell him if he wants to come on the show. I'd love to have him on.
Dude,
sit down with him.
For sure, you would love him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta tell him to come through.
He's a dope dude, and he just stays putting people on. He's a family guy. He has 2 super dope kids and a super dope wife. Like, he
sounds like a dope life.
He loves it. He creates because he loves it.
Yeah, I love to hear it. Though we're gonna end on that, Sasha. This was fun. I'm really glad that we ended up making this happen, and I'm looking forward to continuing to see you kill it. And I'm in your corner rooting for you. So
you too.
Keep killing shit.
Thank you so much.
Well, with that, this is Levi and Sasha checking out from Ambiance Podcast. Peace.
Bye.